Amandla. Amandla. Forward with reconciliation, forward. Amandla. Courage to the past. Dimasiar. Abshi. Sanbonan. Dumelang. Molweni. Lochani. Ay, ndichindebele batho abachifarizwa budi. Ndi thoma nga u lumelisa batho. Ndilibuwe pano kuchimiza mushumo. Bo MEC kekana. Ndilimelise bo minister. Washu bo zizikodwa. Ndilimelise nabangwe baziminister bane baba bukati yashu. Wenda mubona di minister anoshuma ngeka presidency anodzura chibizope ndi makadzi anopi khumbudzo nchaveni. Ndilumelise na the deputy ministers zineza vaone, acting premier washu o ambao apa ofareraho premier washu asangokona o vapano. Ndilumelise na the MEC zineza vaone na zimeyara zashu na zikhanselara zashu. Bitama ulumelisa na mzula chidulo wa National Council of Provinces. Boma sondo boshika opano na bone. Lidobe nilumelise na mungwaleli wa dzangano lo faraho mubuso wa South Africa, mungwaleli wa province ya pano Limpopo, Khosi Bomadazi. Ndilumelise na mahosi ashu ane abaone pano. Ndilibuwe uribokono dipachipinga cha oswika pano na bona. Ndilumelise na bo otebo watu boswikaho byalibuwa ngamanda uri batu babembe botova ngabunji. Na uchiko na mvula una matope. Afano ngamanda afano ni eThohoyandou matope matsuku tsuku. Byalibuwa urubo wana chipinga cha ubafano. Lolibuwa. Eli noni di duba la butogwa ngamanda. Ka kalenda yashu ya South Africa. Dilone linela ribizori the Day of Reconciliation. The duba le raita holiday ngalo. Muroba yebe ingwe holiday. Aingo bana zina. Bangu baba korendi Ramaphosa holiday ndahana. Bangu baba kore inhliziyo yami cishe yama. Ndahana darino. Bangu barendi Springbok holiday. Ya dota do tenda. It was a wonderful holiday that we were able to give to our people. Namusi ndi duba la buphumbedzana. Uphumbedzana, to reconcile, is an important intervention in our effort to build the nation. Zwino ndi ḓo zwi amba nga tshikhuwa nga uri a si riṋe fhedzi ro dzulaho hafhanoni vhane ra khou thetshelesa nyambo heinoni. Ndi vhanzhi vha shango ḽoṱhe na vhone vha fanela uri vha pfhe uri nga ḓuvha heḽinoni mulaedza washu uri mini na. Ndo ḓi ita ndi tshi dzhenisa Luvenḓa fhaḽa na fhaḽa. Fhedzi this is an important day in the history and in the calendar of our country. Every year on this day, we celebrate what I call our greatest achievement. That greatest achievement is the reconciliation between our people, the various races in our country, the various national groups. It's an achievement for having forged a common identity as South Africans. As I talk to South Africans, I often say that we must remember that first we are South Africans and everything else comes after acknowledging that we are South Africans. It is this that binds us together as a nation and as a people. I am a South African, and yes, all of us can then identify ourselves with our various groups. Secondly, I am Venda. Thirdly, I am a man, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. But what should come first to all of us is that we are South Africans. This is the achievement, this is the victory that we won as South Africans. Reconciliation is not an act of forgetting or ignoring the wounds of the past. Uri ripfumedzane asi uri rifanira ri hangwe zwoiteaho mulovha zwoiteaho nga miṅwaha yo fhiraho. Instead, it is a courageous as well as an intentional effort to confront our history, to learn from it, and to build bridges of understanding across the divides and the chasms of misunderstanding, of mistrust, and division. Reconciliation, therefore, is a commitment that all of us as South Africans have to make to create a society where everyone is valued, where diversity is celebrated, and where the scars of the past are transformed into stepping stones towards a brighter and a more compassionate future. Ndisathu dzhena fhano stadium ndo iswa kha tshikolo henefha tsini tshinopi Fulufhelo Special School. Ndi tshikolo tsha vhana vhane vha sa koni u ita zwithu zwinzhi nga vhone vhaṋe. Ndi tshikolo tsha vhana vhane vha vha challenged intellectually. Principal wa tshikolo tsha hone ndi Vho Ramano. He took time to take me through this special school, and he took time to show me what they are doing in that school to make sure that the children, 800 or so children, feel valued, feel that they are part of South Africa, that they are part of all of us. That too is important, because reconciliation is about ensuring that we respect, we recognize the value that every South African has. And I was really humbled to be taken to this school to go and see the absolutely fantastic work that Ramano and the various other 51 teachers are doing with young people who are challenged in a number of ways, where they are teaching them to do artwork, and they produce the most beautiful artwork, where they are teaching them to do arts and crafts, to do technical work, agriculture, woodwork, steelworks, and all that. And as I looked at them, I said, this is what our country is all about. It is about valuing all South Africans. And on a day like this, where we talk about reconciliation, meaning that we value every South African and we embrace diversity, we embrace everyone. And today we have 12 languages. We just added the 12th language, which is the sign language that is being displayed there. And that for me was another important step of embracing our diversity and embracing everyone and our South Africanness. So it is important as we mark this day that we remind ourselves of how extraordinary our experience has been. Many believe that it was not possible for former oppressors and the oppressed to make peace and reconcile, and yet we did. Vanchi vo vachikoerekanya uri hudova na ndwa khulu hafhanoni Afrika Tshipembe hune makhuwa na vhathu vatswu ra ḓo shijana. Vo tala a va hleketa ku ri hi ta dlayana hinkwerhu, mara a swi endlekanga sweswo. We chose the path of reconciliation. Our national days, our flag, our national anthem, and our national symbols stand as a testament to a new, unique nation that has emerged from the difficult past that we've been through. Just merely listening to our national anthem. There aren't many national anthems in the world that are sung in 5 languages. Our national anthem is sung in 5 languages. I add the sign language in as well. When I was talking to the President of China, he wanted to know how we had crafted this. And I said, the creation of our national anthem was an act of reconciliation, was an act of binding the nation together and making sure that we emerge from our divided past as one nation, recognizing our diversity and recognizing our South Africanness. These are not mere symbols or gestures. They serve as important reminders of what we have been able to build within a relatively short period of time. Democracy einoni yashu idoba ina miṅwaha ya 30 ṅwaha u ḓaho. 30 years of democracy. And coming miṅwaha heinoni ya 30, huna zwinzhi zwe ra zwi ita. We have achieved a great deal. Some of the world's oldest democracies are still grappling with racial and ethnic tensions among their people. They are still involved in tribal wars. They are still involved in ethnic wars. And when I look at them and I look at us, and I say, we are grateful we had a leader like Ubaba Nelson Mandela. We are also grateful that we have an organization like the African National Congress that led the struggle to unite the people of South Africa. Whereas bangwe ndirani botenda uri shango la hashu litiwe zwipida zwine zva zwipida hune hambiwa dzinyambo dzine dza ri fhambanya. Arali ri tshi sedza murahu ri ḓo humbula uri ho vhuya hapfi hu na dzi republic nnzhi hafhanoni Afrika Tshipembe. Hapfi hu na republic ya Transkei, hu na republic ya Ciskei, hu na republic ya Bophuthatswana, na fhano hapfi hu na republic ya Venda. Haibu ho tshi khou vhonala uri ho xelwa nga maanḓa. Rine ri roṱhe ri khou ṱoḓa republic nthihi, ndi yone hei republic ine ra vha nayo namusi, ndi republic ya Afrika Tshipembe yo ṱangana ine ya vha hone namusi. Ndi hezwi zwine ra zwi takalela. So today we celebrate our nationhood. We celebrate our reconciliation. We embrace this day as an important day. Yes, some may dismiss it and say, well, there's no real reconciliation. But I would want them to pause and think back what this country could have been 30 years ago if we had not embraced reconciliation. This year, we bore witness to the power of reconciliation when our national rugby team, the Springboks, won the Rugby World Cup in France and beat all other rugby teams to emerge as the #1 rugby team in the whole world. And by so doing, they demonstrated the importance of our reconciliation project in South Africa, because we saw so many South Africans of all races and all ages rallying behind the team, showing their support so passionately and joining in the victory celebrations that reminded us that despite our many challenges, we are a united nation, proud of who we are and proud of how far we have come. The Springbok dzo ri dzi tshi wina na vhathu vhane vha si ḓivhe uri rugby ndi mini, vhane vha si pfesese, wo vha u tshi pfa vha tshi vho amba nga luambo lwa rugby, either vha tshi amba nga Tshivuru kana vha tshi amba nga Luvenḓa kana nga Tshizulu. The languages that we use to celebrate this victory was one of the things that united us. Kha ri pembelele dzi Springboks futhi ri vha livhuwe uri vho wina Rugby World Cup yavho. Now, the proud and resilient South African spirit, this very proud and resilient South African spirit, has carried us through the many difficulties of the past, and it will continue to do so well into the future. Just a short 3 years ago, we were able, as South Africans, to overcome one of the worst public health disasters in modern times. We did overcome because we stood together and we acted together as one. And that is when the true features of our nationhood came through. It is then that we were able to demonstrate that we are able to work together in the face of danger. Because when, as South Africans, we face danger, we are able to unite, to close ranks, and to confront the enemy as one. And that, to me, is a clear demonstration of what our ability to reconcile is all about. We came together and rallied behind the national effort to contain COVID-19. And so you know, not many nations were able to garner the resilience that we demonstrated. And many older democracies, many countries who believe that they are bigger and more important than us, were not able to navigate their way through COVID as well as you did. As South Africans, you closed ranks and made sure that we confront this pandemic, and finally we were able to defeat it. Many more people could have died. In other countries, hundreds of thousands of people died because they did not do what we did. We were able to do so, drawing from the strength of all our people. We united and were able to defeat COVID-19. We all played our part to keep ourselves and others safe. In our journey of reconciliation, it is crucial that we engage in open and honest conversations about the injustices of the past and the present, so that we can heal. It is only when we talk about what has gone wrong in the past. It is also when we talk about what is going wrong right now, so that we are able to heal the wounds that were inflicted on us in the past, and the wounds that keep on being inflicted on us as we go forward to improve the lives of our people. We must confront the uncomfortable truths and learn from them, and work together to create a society where everyone can thrive, where everyone, regardless of their background or identity. Yes, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that, for instance, the children at Fulufelo Special School currently do not even have a school transport to take them to school. When I heard that from the principal, I was most unhappy. 800 children who are challenged, intellectually challenged, do not have school transport. That is the uncomfortable truth that we've got to confront. We've got to ask ourselves why children like that do not have a basic thing like school transport to take them to the school just nearby. And we therefore need to be transparent. Where we go wrong, where we do wrong, we've got to lay it on the table so that we can do better. Zomba isabad ngamanda mbiruni yanga lichifa uchipi haba bana bafa chikoloni cha Fulufelo, and it's a special school. Abana basi bachimbira up to 70-80 kilometers duba na duba bachida chikoloni. Bangwe babo bahera ndirani bo principal abo Ramano bari bajula chikoloni until 7 o'clock ngamadekwana bachinyago upfa uri vana vosvika na mahayani avo. Ndofa zvichimbaisa badi pezi rikodo zvirugisa ba ḓo wana transport yavho havha vhana vha ḓo I wana. So this is what is important about confronting uncomfortable truths, about being open and transparent as South Africans, so that where things do not happen as they should, we should talk about them so that we can correct them. Next year we will mark 30 years since attaining our freedom. Yet the legacy of our divided past continues to manifest itself in enormous divides between rich and poor, between black and white, between men and women, between urban and rural. Inequality is the greatest challenge to meaningful and lasting reconciliation in our country. Ndiri hezwi ndichichimbira hote afanoni Afrika Chipembe ndiya fhethu ho fhambanaho. Chikho chifhinga uri uchisvika mahayani hune hadzula vhathu vha hashu u wana zwithu zvinonga dzi services dzi songo dzudzanyiwa zwavhuḓi. Fhedzi uchiya dzi ḓoroboni u wana dzi services dzo dzudzanywa zwavhuḓi. And that is the divide I'm talking about. Uri hu songo vha na phambano vhukati ha vhathu vhane vha dzula mahayani na vhathu vhane vha dzula dzi ḓoroboni. Ndi hei reconciliation ine ra khou I ṱoḓa uri ri songo vha na u vha na fhethu hune ha tonga hu dzula vhaṅwe vhathu vhane vha si vhe vhathu vha fhano Afrika Tshipembe, vhaṅwe vha tshi khou tshila zwavhuḓi, vha tshi khou wana zwoṱhe zwivhuya zwine zwa vha takadza. Hezwo zwi fanela uri zwi fhele, roṱhe ri lingane, hu vhonale vhukuma uri roṱhe ri vhathu vha fhano Afrika Tshipembe. Zwino mulovha ndo vha ndi na vhaṅwe vha mabambiri vha tshi khou ri kha nṋe, well, why ri tshi dzula ri tshi khou amba nga hezwi zwithu hu tshi ḓivhea uri zwithu hezwinoni zwa u vhandulula vhukati ha vha no kona na vha sa koni zwi hone. Nda ri fanela ri ambe ngazwo, ri fanela uri ri dzule ri tshi khou amba ngazwo, ngauri ra sa amba ngazwo zwi ḓo mbo ḓi dzhiwa zwa swielwa nga fhasi ha carpet, zwa si tsha vhonala, zwa si tsha dovha zwa ambiwa ngazwo. Zwi fanela uri ri zwi ambe, u itela mini? U itela uri ri kone u lugisa zwoṱhe zwine zwa sa khou tshimbila zwavhuḓi. And ri tshi khou amba ngazwo ri ḓo zwi lugisa, vha funa naho vha sa funi zwi ḓo lugisiwa. Now, central to the advancement of reconciliation must therefore be a concerted effort to end poverty, to bring an end to unemployment, and to meaningfully reduce inequality. That is why, since the advent of democracy, we have worked to advance the economic positions of those South Africans denied opportunities under apartheid. Our task is a huge task because we have to deal with the damage that was done by apartheid, where many of our people were relegated to the past. We do have to talk about that as well. Whilst many other people say, please stop talking about apartheid, we do talk about it because it continues to cast a shadow on the lives of our people. We also have to deal with the present situation that our people find themselves in requires that we must do extraordinary things to improve their lives. And that is why we introduced the broad-based black economic empowerment, the affirmative action, preferential procurement, and other transformation policies to address the imbalances that were created by the years of apartheid rule. And these pieces of legislation are meant to enhance reconciliation. They are meant to ensure that we reconcile, we become one nation, a nation that looks forward and addresses the challenges that we all face. We have undertaken a massive redistribution of resources towards mainly black South Africans, meaning Africans, colored and Indians, through the provision of basic services, subsidized housing, improved education, and healthcare and social grants. The impact of these interventions is evident not only in communities and homes across the nation, but also in the insights provided also recently by the results of the census. The effective implementation of these programs, which have transformed the lives of millions of South Africans, are part of the work of reconciliation. We knew then that in order to advance the reconciliation project, in order to ensure that every South African feels that they are part of this process of rebuilding, of building a South African nation, we needed to embark on these interventions. We have prioritized the growth of an inclusive economy that creates employment and provides means to further reduce poverty. And because the task is so huge, there is still so much that needs to be done. And we've been working with many of our social partners to overcome the most immediate obstacles. We have taken far-reaching measures to deal with the current challenges, to reposition our economy, because it is when our economy is repositioned that the true effect of reconciliation will be felt by all. Because unless we reduce poverty, unless we reduce unemployment, our task of reconciliation will really not be successful. It is for this reason that we are focusing, therefore, on ensuring that we build our economy and we make our economy an economy that can attract investors to come and invest so that we can create more jobs. Yes, even in the midst of load shedding, during the Chiswika Afanoni, Rico Reida, Nobona Saini Kurwane, Yongwada Pa Singa load shedding Fasi. Doivona, Dawona Orina Vatu Bafano, Abangotakara nga load shedding. Dozibona Mulaeza Wongwara Okarubondo nga posta Kurwane nga manda. Yes, Rikoita Mishumo Minji, Ori Rifeze load shedding. Una zwinji zinera koziita, zinera ngaziyamba dori load shedding idofera. Rida ifeza load shedding, uri vatu bakono wana mudagasi, ngandira yofanera. Mumwe bukati yabo ane ava, ene anoamba nga load shedding chifinga chote. Di mungwaleli wa ANC Afanoni, ka province ya Limpopo. Abi atomamba nga load shedding. Na hanwani Afanoni huto oma. Ndipo madadze. vadzula vachiamba nga load shedding tshifhinga tshoṱhe vha tshi ri vhudzisa uri I fela lini heyi load shedding. Ḽiṅwe ḓuvha vha ṱoḓa u dzhenisa na muṅwe wavho ḽiṱoni ḽanga vha tshi khou ri president kha vha ambe uri heyi load shedding I ḓo fela lini. Vho Maḓadze I ḓo fela load shedding. Ri khawo mushumo wonoyo. We are making progress ngauri ri khou ita sure uri load shedding I fele. Zwiṅwe zwa u enhance reconciliation ndi ya u fhedza vhugevhenga. Hu na zwigevhenga zwinzhi zwine zwa khou dina vhathu fhethu hunzhi hune vhathu vhashu vha dzula hone. Zwino na hafhanoni Thohoyandou ndo pfa hu na tshiṱori tsha uri ho vha hu na iṅwe group ya zwigevhenga mapholisa vho ḓa vha vha thuntsha vha vha fhedza vhoṱhe vhe 19 vha tshi khou lwa na mapholisa. So na zwezwo, even these acts of criminality, we are addressing them. Yesterday, on Thursday, I attended the pass-out parade of a new group of recruits of the South African police who are going to bolster our effort to tackle crime and take the fight to the criminals. And we have given warnings to these criminals that you have no place to hide. All this forms part of a wider effort to better capacitate our law enforcement authorities. Last year, in Sona this year, I announced we are going to add 10,000 police. Last year, we added another 10,000. And next year, we will possibly add another 10,000. We are adding more police. And it's actually a joy. It's actually a joy to see these young people signing up for the police. Minister wa mapolisa ori khavo zwezwi ni tshi khou dzhena tshipholisani ri ḓo ni fha uniform ine ya ni lingana zwino. Ri ṱoḓa uri heyi uniform ive I tshi khou ni lingana in 7 years. Ni vhe ni tshi khou dzhena kha heyi uniform ni songo vha no vha na mikhava mihulwane ni si tsha kona na u gidimedza zwigevhenga. Na nne I repeated that. Nda ri vhoinwi ni tshe vhaṱuku ni songo fana na nne. Nne ndo no aluwa ndi na 71 years. Zwino hu songo vha na mutukana ano ḓo fana na nne nga tshivhumbeo tshawe. They must work very hard. So reconciliation means that we need to also bridge the divide between men and women. We must work for gender equality in all areas of life, from the home to the workplace, from parliament to the community. This means that we must end, once and for all, the violence that men perpetrate against women. Uri havano banna bane ba tshiseze bafumakadzi ba bononga ndi boxing bag zwifele. So dia muthu wa mufumakadzi zwifana uri zwifele. That is the reconciliation we want. We want true reconciliation between men and women. All parts of society must therefore work together to change social attitudes and practices that discriminate against and oppress women. We must work together to implement the National Strategic Plan Against Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, to provide better support to victims, to ensure that there are harsher consequences and sentences. And we must also enhance the economic empowerment of the women of our country. All of this work, indeed the entire program of government, is focusing on building a more equal society. And that is what reconciliation means for millions of our citizens that are burdened by the hardships of everyday life. It is sometimes difficult to remain optimistic, and yet we must continue to have hope. We must continue to persevere. We do know that we will overcome this period of hardship, as we have overcome many, many others. 2 years ago, deadly riots in parts of our country threatened to tear our national fabric. There were attempts to divide us as a people, but we stood firm. In the end, it was our people who defended our democracy. It is our people who refused that this unrest should spread throughout the country. We rejected all attempts to stoke divisions and came together to rebuild. As a people, our greatest strength is the celebration of our community and our humanity. It is our ability to see beyond color, race, tribe, creed, ethnicity, and national identity. It is our strength to embrace each other. There can never be a place in our democracy for discrimination against others because of their race, their language, their faith, their sexual orientation, or whether they are citizens or non-citizens. We celebrate our progress towards reconciliation when much of the world is in turmoil. Ubabuzango, when many other nations look at South Africa, they continue to say, almost 30 years later, that we are a beacon of hope in the community of nations. They say, South Africa, you are a real beacon of hope, because as South Africa, you were able to reconcile. You were able to build a nation from the ashes of division, from the ashes of apartheid, from the ashes of hope, and from the ashes of oppression. And they say, we see you as a real poster country for the best that a nation can build. Reconciliation, democracy, respect for human rights, the rule of law. They say if anybody wants to learn what all those concepts mean, they must come to South Africa. So as South Africans, let us be proud of what we have achieved. And that is why this day is so important. That is why this day is also so well blessed by the rain that is falling. We are blessed because we are on the right track as South Africans. So, as we see the world, for instance, as we see what's happening in the Middle East, the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, particularly Hamas, and the devastation being wrought on the Gaza Strip, these must be reminders of the tragic outcome when old wounds are left to fester for the longest time. The dispossession and occupation and discrimination that is directed against the Palestinian people has endured for over 75 years. And as South Africa, we have maintained that the only solution to this conflict is a just and lasting peace, and that both sides must come together and reconcile. They must come together and create a two-state solution in a world and at a time when divisions between and amongst nations are becoming more pronounced. We as South Africa are united, and we must be proud of our unity, and we must continue to build that unity. We must never think and take our unity for granted. We must continue to work at it. One that offers freedom is our country. We want a South Africa that will offer true freedom to our people, that will offer shared prosperity and equal rights for all, and where no one in the end is left behind. This is the South Africa that Nelson Mandela built. This is the South Africa that Oliver Reginald Tambo struggled for. This is the South Africa that Mama Albertina Sisulu, Lillian Goyi, Helen Joseph, and many others struggled for. The heino ni Africa Chipembe ine rafano rifate rivumbe zwabudi rikono bvelela panda, and refuse at all costs to be divided, and refuse at all costs not to embrace one another and move forward to reconciliation. Ilibuwa uri batu bafano bembe, batu bahapanoni bembe, libone bane na uchioba na zikhetho, uchioba na elections, libone bane bava ngabunji ofira fetu hunji hapanoni South Africa. Batu bafano bembe bava ngabunji, and batu bothe ba Africa Chipembe hezu chiamba ngazikhetho babudzisa uri bembe yo imagai na bembe yo swika ka 90% na riku expecta uri bembe hafanoni richia zikhetho ni ngwau dao bembe ido banga bunji uyo votera ngoho ine yafanori ibe hon uyo uri uvotera ngoho ya uri Africa Chipembe ibvelele phanda uri mushumo heino ni mibuya rikono ya phanda nayo di hezi zwine vembe rai divela zone. So didobuya henefa didobandu ambara imwe gebisi ndichibuya didoda henefa didoda richi dobarabona ndolibuwa ngamanda ubafano ndolibuwa batu babembe bokono uda kahono ni mushumo wa reconciliation day ndolibuwa